The Haunting of the Burned Mall. Years after the devastating fire that left the town's largest shopping mall in ruins, whispers of ghostly apparitions began to spread. Many claimed to hear eerie cries and see shadowy figures moving behind the shattered windows. The place was avoided by all except for Jason, a self-proclaimed ghost hunter. Jason had a passion for the paranormal, and the burned mall was his dream investigation site. Armed with a camera, a digital recorder, and an EMF detector, he convinced his best friend Mike to join him. Though reluctant, Mike agreed, unable to ignore Jason's enthusiasm. The night was cold and moonless as they approached the charred remains of the mall. Its skeletal structure loomed like a dark specter against the night sky. Jason pushed open the rusted gate, the creak echoing unnaturally loud in the silence. "Are you sure about this?" Mike whispered, his flashlight trembling in his hand. "Of course," Jason replied. "Think of the evidence we could get." Inside, the air was thick with the smell of soot and decay. Burned mannequins stood in melted heaps, their distorted shapes adding to the unease. Jason turned on his recorder. "Is anyone here?" he called out, his voice bouncing off the scorched walls. The answer came in the form of a faint whisper, barely audible. "Leave." Mike froze. "Did you hear that?" he asked, his voice shaking. Jason grinned. "This is amazing. Let's go deeper." They ventured further into the mall, the silence pressing down on them. The EMF detector began to spike erratically, and a sudden chill enveloped them. Jason's camera picked up flickering lights in the distance, as though someone or something was moving ahead. As they approached what used to be the food court, a loud crash made them both jump. A table had been overturned, yet no one was there. "Jason, this is not a good idea," Mike said, backing away. But Jason was relentless. He aimed his camera at the darkness. "If there's a spirit here, show yourself." The air grew colder, and the shadows seemed to thicken. From the corner of his eye, Mike saw a figure standing among the debris. It was a woman, her clothes burned and tattered, her face pale and twisted with rage. Her empty eyes locked onto them. "She's here!" Mike shouted, grabbing Jason's arm. The ghost let out a bone-chilling scream, the sound reverberating through the mall. The walls seemed to shudder as objects flew off shelves, crashing to the floor. Jason's camera was ripped from his hands, smashing against the wall. "Run!" Jason yelled, but the ghost blocked their path, her charred hands reaching out for them. Her voice was a guttural wail. "You shouldn't have come!" Desperate, they turned and ran deeper into the mall, the spirit's cries following them. Doors slammed shut behind them, trapping them inside. Finally, they found a side exit, the rusted door barely budging as they shoved it open. They tumbled out into the night, gasping for air. Jason looked back, his face pale. The ghost stood in the doorway, her eyes burning with malice. As the door slammed shut, her final words echoed in their minds, "Never return." Jason and Mike never spoke of the experience again. The burned mall stood as a grim reminder, its secrets locked away with the vengeful spirit that haunted its ruins.